Council on Aging's first amateur photo contest had over 40 entries in the categories of landscapes, people, and animals. Here's what the winners had to say about their photography.
The one thing that I love, and I've always loved about photography, I love people. So the one thing that I usually like to focus in on is people's faces, because one face will tell a million stories. And if you catch it just right, you can see happiness, sadness, all kinds of things, even just people on the street, which I don't generally do because it's illegal, but I do love to catch people and their faces and expressions. That inspires me the most. And the second thing is beauty, just the beauty around me.
I'm looking for what looks beautiful to me, how people react, and animals, how they are.
Well, I take a lot of different kind of pictures, outside, interiors, sometimes night shots even, which are very challenging.
An inspiration is probably something that would catch someone's eye, or maybe touch their heart, or something that would make them smile.
Actually, sometimes it's instantaneous that I have narrowed in on something, such as coming up Spring Street, which I have a picture of a tractor from Charlie Tangerini submerged in the fog, and all you see is the tractor and you can't see anything. I get the goosebumps thinking about it. I have a few of those, and the winter is the same. If the flakes are falling very thick over there, I get to grasp to be in the middle of it, and that's really what I seek, to get that essence in the middle of it.
If I see something that I want to remember, if I see the cats cuddling, when one cat does not like to cuddle, so she falls, if she's asleep, the other rescue cat will sneak in and just snuggle under her, because he thinks, and he might be right, that this other cat is his mom cat. We don't know, they came from the same hoarded litter.
How did I get interested in photography? I just like to take pictures every once in a while when it looks beautiful.
I got interested in photography when I had a dog, and that began in 2006, in which I was walking a lot more along the farms and the ponds and traveling around to do nature with him.
Well, I think everyone loves photography, and pictures are so interesting. And you know that saying that a picture says 1,000 words? Well, I feel that that's true. I love to look on Facebook and see what people have posted, and you learn a lot about pictures and what people say. I remember one time being so impressed when I saw a picture. You know how when people take a picture and it looks like they're holding up the moon? And I thought, wow, that's really clever, you know? I should try and do something like that, be a little more creative.
Back in 1970 or so, my husband bought me my first camera when I dropped my old Instamatic in the lake. And I had no idea how to use it. It was a film camera. And so I took a couple of photography courses in Waltham, Massachusetts, actually. And just to learn how to use it, and did some darkroom and editing and things like that. And just loved photography, just fell in love with it.
Well, color for one. I like color and unusual lighting conditions, which can be challenging to get, that kind of thing. You know, there's always the usual tourist shots, of course, you know, things you're supposed to take pictures of. But I might look in the other direction sometimes and take the moss on the tree versus the waterfall you're supposed to be looking at.
Well, it's sort of a hobby, like knitting is a hobby. It's cheaper than knitting because yarn really gets up there and it's addictive. But when you have a camera, there's no addiction to it. It's one thing, you can delete the pictures, you can put it on your computer. I learned how to do that. You can make it larger. You can do all these things that I never would have imagined when I was younger, and a typewriter was like, you push it that way and you put a new tape in there and that. So it is fun.
I guess I didn't take so much during college, but when I graduated, I got a used Yashica camera from a friend, and Bob was my husband is into photography. So together we've been taking pictures for over 40 years. Currently we've gone modern. I have a Fuji XP, which we took down the Grand Canyon. That's what we bought it for. It's waterproof, shockproof, freeze-proof, everything proof. And we just bought the newer model, another Fuji. Bought it at Costco. Love them.
What kind of camera do I use? I use my cell phone mostly.
I actually use my phone. I have an iPhone, takes great pictures, and of course a delete button for all those mistakes you make.
I actually do use my phone as a camera. It's very good. It works quick, and I'm always having it near me, so it's easy.
I have a Canon point and shoot. I have had probably a number of the point and shoots because they only point and shoot for so many years, but I need things that aren't complicated.
I know that after a while, the film became more obsolete, if you will. But so my husband, once again, he said, you know, you really need to update, and he bought me my first Canon T1, the Rebel, that I took a lot of photos with. That's the one that I take to Haiti with me because of dust and things. But now I have upgraded and have several others. I got hooked on the digital, as much as I rebelled at first.
My award-winning photo, the Geese family, was taken down at the reservation over in Norfolk, and it was right as the pandemic was taking off, and I was adamant I was going to get out into nature, and I was a little nervous, and I didn't want to see anyone. And I went, and there was no one there. And I came in by the waterfalls, and there they were to the left of me.
Well, I go to Florida in the winter and saw a gorgeous sunset, which I just wanted to remember forever. We have an in-ground pool, so for my animal one, we, in the winter, or in the spring, we have an annual visitor, which is a turtle, big snapping turtle who lays her eggs, and I have a family of ducks. So we can't open our pool till they're ready. And for the child picture, I had a 3-year-old granddaughter visiting with Grandpa and I, and she put the Afghan over her head and was peeking out between the Afghan because they were watching a scary movie together, which, by the way, was Peter Pan. I don't want anyone to think that I was subjecting her to anything that was not acceptable.
My sunflower shot. The sunflower shot, as I recall, was taken in Vermont a couple of years ago. It was at actually a strawberry farm. We had gone to pick strawberries, and they had a little small planting of sunflowers, and I just took a few pictures of them, because they're kind of pretty.
Well, I didn't really want to have that picture taken, but I thought, oh, it looks like this year, so I took it.
My photo that I won for People, that is a really special photo for me. I go to Haiti. I work on a missions team as the Director of Child Services, so I go every 3 months. And that particular photo was our CEO of Mission E4, which is also here in Massachusetts. And that school was a very poor school, first time any missionaries had been in there. And so these children were covered in scabies, they were starving, they were just glazed over, and he pulled out his guitar and started singing, and they were still kind of, it was tough to watch and see, and I just happened to take several pictures, and that one touched me because the CEO, Scott Long of Mission E4, passed away in January from COVID. And for some reason, I just thought, I'm going to throw that in there. I never expected it to win, but, you know, I'm glad it did. The other picture, my husband and I, we just retired about 3 years ago, and we were driving on our way to the Isle of Skye in Scotland and saw I think it's the Eileen Donan Castle. And I just said, stop the car, I need to take that picture. And it was just amazing. It's so eerie there. And so I just jumped out and took the picture, and that's the photo.
Okay, this is Sonic, and we got him as a 2-month-old kitten. He is, at this time today, almost a year old. He grew really fast. He gets into a lot of trouble.
Take a lot of pictures. I mean, you know, these days it's so cheap to take pictures. I have to worry about messing it up and just delete it if you don't like it. Experiment. I haven't really done too much experimenting with the different motifs you can do, filters and tones and coloring and things like that on the digital cameras, but they're kind of fun. I think composition is important. I mean, you know, don't put your person standing up in the center, you know, looking at you. Like, try to have some more natural poses and things like that.
Oh, I would say just enjoy taking pictures of what you'd like to take of. I don't worry about the lighting because I'll take more pictures and I'll get another one on another day. Just enjoy it because it stays in your memory more, and have fun.
My first advice would be just to be patient, to try to see. I'm right now getting Richardson Pond, and all the lotus are opening up, and there's a certain way to try to hit it because I want to see the fullness of the whole 3-dimension, and I want the clouds, and I want all the elements. So I'd be patient. I take about 10 at a time, and then I post them on my Facebook, the best of the best, you know, periodically on my screen. And that makes me happy to have gotten in the middle of it.
Amateur is amateur, and you know, you just have to do what you have to do.
When taking photos, I think the most important thing is to take a lot. In the age of digital, take it from different angles. Try not to center everything, especially when you're doing landscaping. You know, you want to, even if I took a picture this weekend of a couple on the beach, and I took it first, and it was pretty centered, and it didn't look right. So I brought it down, and you saw their footsteps going right up to them. And they're way at the top of the picture. You don't ever want to center it. You want something to have the line go toward whatever subject you're trying to take a picture of.
Well, I would say just go for it. Anything you see that touches you, you know will touch someone else.